Hey, hello. So, um, I am Sarah Sati, and today I am going to be guiding the first class in my series, a new series that I'm offering on Insight Timer called Yoga for Embodiment. These classes are designed for anyone who, in general, finds themselves dissociated from their bodily experience. So these can be people that just have a general lack of focus, but this can also be a result of individuals who have some experience with a trauma history or any other number of causes. We're not really so much concerned about the cause here, but what we are concerned about is finding safety in the body. For many people in the world, the body is not necessarily a safe space. So, in a series of successive classes, we're going to be going through our bodies together using some visualization, some breath work, some guided imagery and meditation, and some gentle movement in order to see, can we find a reconnection with the body in a way that feels safe and supported. So let's start it. Uh, I'm going to be using a cushion and a blanket, perhaps, maybe even a block. But I encourage you to use a chair if that's nice for you. Or sometimes I may even draw in this seat that could be, somebody could sit on it, or you could use it for other various things. And I'll show a few modifications. But really, what's most important here is that you find a modification that works for you. So no matter what I invite you to do today, please feel free to adjust your practice as necessary, even stopping if something doesn't feel good, and just waiting a moment and allowing yourself to come back to a space of feeling good. The whole point of these practices together is to find safety and comfort in the body. And really, the main instruction for that is that you are able to listen to your own limits and honor what is true for you in the moment. So, however you are is perfect. Seated on a chair, I'm sitting on a cushion. You could also be lying down on the ground for this. We're just going to begin with an opening visualization practice. And maybe lying down would really feel great right now. But I'm going to sit on this cushion so that I can look outward a little bit. Just finding some comfort. If you were to lie on the ground, and maybe you even have a chair accessible, you could even put your legs up on something and some cushioning underneath the head, and this could be really supported. But perhaps the body feels a little bit tight, whatever time it is for you. And so actually sitting on a chair would be better, or even lying flat on your back. This is also okay. The first step here is to just find some relaxation for yourself. Just find some position, even if you have a lot of pain, that feels moderately comfortable, where you can let go of the effort. And let your eyes stay open here for a moment. And without moving the eyes really in a very fast way, keeping the eyes generally relaxed but open, just sort of scan the space that you're in, looking around the room. Just take a moment here in a very gentle way to see where you are with some clarity. If you're in a room that has a lot of things in it, maybe noticing some of those things and bringing that noticing into the mind through labeling. Like, for instance, I'm looking at a block, I'm looking at a wall, I can see a plant. But you don't have to use language. You can also just simply allow the eyes to see and observe what it is you're seeing. And let's take a few deep, settling breaths here together. Not bringing too much attention to the breath, just about like 25% of your attention to the breath. Allow yourself to gently breathe in through the nose if possible, but through the mouth is also okay. Everything is okay today. Inhaling. And then on the exhale, I want you to make an audible sound, an ah sound. Sometimes we ask a person to say like, ah, but actually I just want you to say ah in an extended way. So an inhale through the nose if possible, and then a long and allow the sound to completely end on its own in a natural way before once again inhaling. And we're going to do that 5 times together. So you can find your own rhythm here. Inhaling. It's 2. Doesn't have to sound pretty. It can be as quiet or as loud as possible for you. And you have your own unique breath rhythms. So you may do more or less breathing than me. That's okay. We have 3 more to go. Inhale. Last one. And after the completion of the last ah, if it feels safe, let your eyes gently close and notice any sensation left over from the feeling of the ah sound. And let's start with a short visualization practice, short visualization meditation. I want you to bring to mind the image of an animal basking in the sun somewhere outside. Mental imagery comes up in many ways. For some people, you may see something really clearly as though you're looking with the eyes, but we're not actually using the eyes. So this imagery may come up as a feeling, or you may even have to use words to create it. And any way that you experience it is okay. You're just simply imagining here an animal, could be a dog, a cat, a bunny rabbit, and just imagining that it's lying somewhere, maybe in the grass outside on a sunny day. Just imagine here that the sun is shining on the animal. The animal is totally safe. I'm imagining a cat. And in that safety, the animal is really spread out, allowing its body to fully relax and open. No fear at all. And you can really go into this imagination. Is your animal awake or asleep? And what's its body position like? How is it experiencing the feeling of the sunshine on its body? And as you imagine this animal, perhaps you can start to feel what this animal feels. Total safety, an absolutely warm, light, open, comfortable environment. And now I want you to imagine that you're sitting next to this animal. Maybe you can see yourself as though from above or from a distance. And as you sit next to the animal is not afraid at all and continues to just enjoy the beautiful sunshine, the warmth of the sunshine on its body. As you just gently sitting next to them, allow them space to be fully safe. And I want you to imagine that you reach out now, and without scaring the animal, you just gently place your hand on the softness of its fur. And maybe you even want to take your hand and reach out and imagine that you begin to softly pet the animal, feeling the softness of its fur, warm from the sun. Just noticing what this feels like on your hand, absorbing some of this relaxed, safe experience that the animal is going through. And then stop petting the animal for a moment, whether you are imagining doing it or really reaching your arm out and keeping the eyes closed if it's safe for you. The eyes can also be open if it doesn't feel safe. I just want you to imagine for a moment that after petting the animal, that feeling the animal is experiencing begins to move through your own body. Imagine here, in whatever way feels right for you, that you merge with the animal and that feeling of warmth, openness, and absolute fearless relaxation that the animal is experiencing. Imagine it begins to penetrate you first from your hand that did the petting, and then maybe it moves up your arm, into your head and neck. Perhaps you're experiencing it as a warmth or a color, a light, moving down your opposite arm into the hand. And then that feeling, that warmth, that safety down the body, all the way down both legs and into the feet. Just imagining here that you become the animal. And now, rather than the animal lying here with you sitting next to it, you've in some way merged with the animal, and together you're lying in the sun. Warm, open, and totally safe. And then drop the visualization. Drop the visualization for a moment. Let your eyes blink open. Just rest here for a few moments in silence. And then if it feels good, start to gently bring some movement to the body. You can take your hands and with open palms, begin to run them up and down the leg. Just notice the connection point between the hands and the legs here. And if it feels good, you can start to move the head and neck around in any way that works for you, perhaps bringing in some gentle twisting and circling the head if it feels okay. But also, if it doesn't feel safe, the neck's a very vulnerable spot. You can just simply move the head from side to side or the chin to the chest in a way, just finding something that feels okay here. Keeping the hands connected to the thighs and continuing this movement of the hands on the thighs as you move around. And maybe you want to speed up the movement a little bit, Or maybe you want to be really slow. You can try to take this cat-cow position with the body. The chest opens, the elbows come back, the chest closes, the shoulder blades open. It's your practice, so you're just finding something that feels okay for you and right for you right now. And then keep moving the hands on the legs, coming back to a centered position, stopping the movement with the body. Let the hands increase speed now as you're moving the hands up and down the legs, and start to feel some warmth in the palms of the hands. And as you feel this warmth building in the palms of the hands, move the hands even more. Really try to get the palms of the hands as warm as possible. 3, 2, we're going to bring the hands to the face. 1, and then gently release the hands, holding the hands just about an inch away from the eyes. Settle here for a moment and notice, can you feel the warmth of the hands on the face? Just observe the sensation in the palms of the hands. Observe the space between the palms of the hands and the face. And observe the sensation in the face. Nothing is off limits. Everything is okay here. Numbness is okay. Sensation is okay. And then drop the hands. Bring the hands down to or next to the sides of the body, about shoulder height. And let's just begin to shake the hands a little bit here. Today we're focusing just on the hands and the feet. So we're just bringing some embodiment into the hands, awakening the hands here before we do some gentle stretching on the wrists and the fingers and the hands themselves. Shaking, maybe you want to shake quickly. If you've been seated, you can undo the cross of the legs and find a new position for the legs that feels a little more comfortable. I like this position where my hips are sort of open, and maybe this works or something else. It's okay. Just shaking the hands out. And as you shake the hands, simply noticing any sensation in the hands, any sensation in the hands at all. And then let's keep the hands lifted, but stop the shaking. I'm going to switch my leg position now. If you've taken one side leg position, you can also switch. And then let's stretch the fingers wide, opening the hands all the way. Hold that. 3, 2, 1. And then one finger at a time. Down, down, down. Thumb comes in. Make a tight fist. Hold. 3, 2, 1. And then a sudden open. So we're going to do this again 2 more times. Stretching the palms of the hands, really opening the hands wide. 3, 2, 1, and then fingers down. One finger, other finger together if possible. Close the thumb in, squeeze the fist tight. 3, 2, 1, sudden open. And we're going to do it one more time. Hold here, stretch the palms, stretch the fingers. 3, 2, 1, and then the fingers come in. Gently, one finger at a time, hold the fist, squeeze tight. 3, 2, 1, open, and just shake it off. Maybe the shoulders are feeling a little tight from having the arms raised. You can come off of the position that you were in, whatever position that was. If you were seated on a chair, you can also come down off the chair. I'm going to move the cushion out of the way for a moment, and we're just going to do some gentle stretching on the hands. You can notice here if you're on your shins, just noticing what the sensation in the hands is, how you feel, and how the hands themselves feel. Maybe bringing them together and just squeezing them slightly. And then bring the palms of the hands onto the ground. And looking down at the 2 hands, if possible, just observe if one hand has a tendency to be a little bit in front or behind the opposite hand. And if that's true, try to bring some equality to the 2 hands so that the wrists are underneath the shoulders and the fingers seem basically even. There's always a little bit of inconsistency between the 2 sides of the body. So don't look for perfection here. Just look for a little bit of change. And then we're just going to slowly start to rock the weight of the body forward and back and forward and back. And keeping your attention as much as possible in the hands, your awareness in the hands and wrists. The fingers remain flat on the ground. And then maybe you want to begin to do a few circles. clockwise first. If this is feeling okay for you, you can start to involve the back of the body, opening and closing the back body as you move in this circular way, stretching out the wrist. We'll call this barrel roll. So up, doesn't have to be big. It can be a small movement. Just depends on your capacity right now. Everything is okay. And then let's switch sides. First, just starting with some circles, no problem, not too much movement. And notice we're not worrying about the breath right now. We're not bringing too much attention to the breath. That will come later. Come later in this series. We'll bring more and more awareness to the breath as we go. But for now, don't even worry about how the breathing is. Just simply bringing sensation or awareness to the sensation in the hands, the fingers, the wrist. And now if you want to start to bring a little more movement in as you press, perhaps you feel the fingertips engage a little bit more, and barrel rolling in the opposite direction. Everything is okay here. So just simply noticing any sensation at all in the hands. If it hurts, it's okay. We're going to stop just one more time and then come back for a second and just shake the wrist out. We're going to do a little bit more here before we move on to the feet and the ankles. So now if it's okay, you're going to turn one hand back, and maybe you can do both hands at the same time. And then again, we're just going to do a gentle stretch. Now listen, if this is super painful for you, which it can be for many people, you can always bring a little bit of support underneath the base of the wrist, and that will help relieve some of the pain. But if you can tolerate it, we're just going to, again, start with some small circles in one direction. We'll spend a little less time here because this position is more challenging for the body. If you want to right away start to increase the movement, maybe you really feel like you need a lot of movement today. This class is a very gentle class, so you need a little more movement. By all means, add it in, and then we're going to go in the opposite direction. Start first just with the circles, and then as it feels good, begin to open up the front and back body as you move. If that's right for you, no pressure. Nothing has to be done here. Just sensation. And then coming back to a neutral position, if you can stay just a little bit longer, we're going to begin to bend the elbows, keeping the tips of the fingers as much as possible on the ground and trying to bring the elbow as close to the thigh as possible. Maybe it touches, maybe it's a small movement. It's okay. We're not trying to feel pain here. So you want to really differentiate between a pain sensation and a deep stretch, especially in an area of the wrist that maybe has never received this kind of attention. 3, 2, and 1. And then coming back and shaking the hands out, keeping the mind connected to the hands as much as possible here. If you notice the mind wanders, it's no problem. Just gently bring the mind back. And now we're going to bring the hands into fists and the backs of the palms onto the ground. If it's really hard for you and you're on a chair, or you could also do this on the surface of a chair, that's also okay. Adjust as needed for your own body. And then holding the hands in a fist, a stretch up with the arms straight, and then bend the elbows, come down slightly, and then coming up to your capacity. Maybe you can straighten the arms, but maybe you need to stay here. It's okay. We're just going to do this a few times, opening and closing the tops of the wrist. 3, 2, and last one. And we're going to hold here. 3, 2, and 1. And then you can sit back and simply shake out the hands here a little bit. And just to pause, however you are, chair, floor, whatever position is okay, pause here for a moment, allow your eyes to close if it feels safe, and just simply bring your awareness into the hands. Maybe first you start as a general awareness into the hands, but then start to spread the awareness systematically from a general sense of the hand. Notice the thumb of the right hand and the left hand. And then sweeping your mind across the hand, can you feel the first finger, second finger? And there may be a numbness, maybe you don't feel anything at all, but if you feel something, just simply observing what you feel, not criticizing it or judging it. There's no good or bad here. There's no right or wrong feeling. Numbness is okay. Good feeling is okay. Bad feeling is okay. Everything is okay. And sweeping your awareness to cover all the fingers, all 10 fingers. And then bringing your attention to the very center of the palm of the hand. And just resting your mind at the center of the palm of the hand for a few moments. And then releasing. And now we're going to do a little bit of work on the feet themselves. So you can see here, I'm on my knees. Maybe you need a little bit of support. So you could always bring a blanket, or if you have a yoga mat, you could double it up a few times. I'm going to be on the toes, and we're going to be stretching the toes here for a moment. So before we do anything, just tuck the toes under the ankles so that you can see the bottom of the foot is pointing away from me. And then for just a few breaths, take the attention out of the hands and bring the attention to the feet. And just simply become aware of the bottoms of the feet. Maybe you have a lot of awareness here. Maybe it's not so much. Maybe it's numb. Just notice your relationship to the feet and awareness right now. And we're practicing successively in these classes to keep our mind and our body more and more connected. So you may find, especially in this first class, that it's quite easy for you, but it could also be very difficult, and that would be absolutely normal. If the mind can stay with the feet, great. But if it comes and goes, or if it feels very challenging, this is also good information. And then keeping the toes tucked under, we're going to gently begin to sit back. Now look, this is going to have varying degrees of pain for people. You may actually feel what seems to be pain, but I promise you, we're not injuring ourselves. We're just simply stretching an area of the body that rarely gets stretched. So you're tucking the toes under, you're sitting back on the heels. If you have something to support your hands so that it takes a little bit of the pressure off, that may be useful to you here. We're just going to stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rise up, untuck the toes, and then begin to gently tap the tops of the feet on the ground as you point the toes. Using some support, if you have it, to hold your body up, and then moving around the ankles a little bit. We're going to do it one more time. Tuck the toes here, using support or not. Sit back onto the 2 heels. And then we're going to hold here, keeping the mind in the toes, just really noticing how the feet feel. 5, 4, 3, 2, and then rising up, and once again, untucking the toes, pointing the toes here, and beginning to slap them down onto the mat. We're going to do it one more time. If you have it in you, you can always put it out if you need to. So once again, we're going to tuck the toes. You really might feel it here. And then we're going to sit back onto the heels. I know it can feel pretty intense. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then bring yourself all the way up, untuck the toes, point the feet, and then let them come down onto the mat until it feels good. And then just turning to the side, you're going to bring yourself down onto a seated position, down onto the ground. I'm going to, I think it'll be better if I kind of do it at an angle. I'm going to sit at an angle so that you can see here. You can take your hands behind you to support you if that feels good. That may be hard on the wrists, especially because we just did quite some stretching. So having a little cushion or also using some sort of chair is okay. And if you didn't bring anything with you today, you can always try again, watch the recording, and bring some things with you next time I'm recording this and sharing it after. So just sitting back gently in whatever way feels okay for you. If the wrists are really uncomfortable, you can also make fists. And resting here for a few moments as you bring your awareness into the feet. We'll start with the right foot. or you can start with whatever foot is dominant for you that you pick up and it makes the most sense. And then we're just going to point the toes, 3, 2, 1, and flex the feet. As you flex the feet, spread the 5 toes as much as possible. I don't know if you can see here. I'm going to spread my 5 toes as wide as I possibly can. I'm going to hold here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then point the toes. Really squeeze the toes here and point as hard as you can. 5, oh, I got a little cramp. I have to release it. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the leg is probably feeling tired, so you can go ahead and place that foot back down on the ground. And then just notice that foot, whatever foot it was, any sensation that exists in that foot. And we'll go to the second side. So lifting the opposite foot, whatever foot it was. First, flex the foot here, open the bottom of the foot, really spread the toes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then point the toes maximum here, squeeze the toes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. Open, spread the toes as wide as you can spread them. Looking at the toes here with your eyes, seeing your feet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last time. Point and squeeze. Notice if it's challenging to bring your awareness, especially into the toes here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then that leg is probably a little tired. You can bring it on the ground, and maybe you want to open and close the hips a few times. Release any tension that might have crept into the hip flexors. And now we're going to come to standing. Hopefully you have some wall space or something that you can use for this last stretch that we'll do for the feet. I'm going to demonstrate using a block and another block for support. You can, if you're at a wall, I'll just show you, it's kind of hard to see from behind, but you can just place your hands on the wall. One foot will step back, the other foot will step forward towards the wall. So now I'm going to show you using the block. I'll have 3 blocks here. So if you have blocks, that's also great, but you can just imagine my hands are on a wall here. I have 1 foot back and 1 foot forward, and then the block that's in front, or the wall that's in front of this foot, to whatever degree is possible, I'm going to press the bottom of my foot into that block. And maybe I have to be up quite high, you know, and I'm on the wall and my foot is against the wall, so I can push the foot into the wall. And that's okay. You don't have to be bent over here. I'm just demonstrating from my position. Any level of flexibility here is okay. And if you need to bend the knee a little bit, also okay. Now, pressing the foot into the wall as much as possible, lifting up away from the lower body. We're going to hold here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then gently release, and we're going to switch sides. So if you're at the wall, I'll demonstrate this time at the wall. You won't be able to see me from the side, but you'll get the idea of how it can look. So now taking the opposite foot, stepping back with it. That front foot, it can be high up onto the wall. It can be a little bit lower down. It really depends on what's best for you right now. This is your practice. So we're not trying to hurt ourselves. We're trying to sense ourselves, bringing more and more awareness into the body. So if the bottom of the foot can come to the wall, then the bottom of the foot comes to the wall. Maybe you can come a little lower, but maybe you want to stay up quite high. Now just push the foot into the wall as much as possible. 5, 4, 3, 2, keep pushing, and 1, and then gently release. And then just come to standing for a moment and noticing the feet and how the 2 feet feel, bringing your awareness into the feet. And then if you're at a wall, hopefully, and you need some support for balance, you can just place one hand onto the wall to support you. And then we're going to lift one leg up, and we're just going to start making circles with the ankle. Doesn't matter which foot, doesn't matter which ankle. If you're going clockwise with the circles of the ankle, that's great. Let's switch direction. Just bringing as much awareness, attention into the foot as possible. 3, 2, 1, and then bring that leg down. And if you're using the support of the wall, you can switch sides. No need to use the support of the wall. You can also just stand free inside of the room, and then you get a little balance work as well. And then again, just beginning to move that foot, excuse me, in small circles, big circles, whatever's best for you. And then switching directions. Keeping your awareness in the feet. And then letting that foot come down to the ground. And now just begin to kind of step the 2 feet onto the earth. And as you do this, the hands can be on your hips, the hands can be down by your sides. Start to just really, as much as possible, bring awareness to the bottoms of the feet. And maybe you can sense the center of the bottom of the foot on the right and left side. And as much as possible, try to keep your awareness there. Just noticing what it feels like as you lift one foot and then the other. Just a small lift, not too much, and using the support of the wall if necessary. And then coming to stillness. Pausing here, the feet can be wide or close together, whatever is best for you. We're just going to simply keeping the feet onto the ground, start to shift our weight around a little bit. And as you do this, moving maybe in circles or front to back, simply observing with awareness any sensation or lack of sensation in the feet right now. And then don't try to push anything else away. Maybe there's a thought, maybe there's an emotion, anything else may be coming up inside of your experience of awareness, and everything is allowed, everything is welcome. So if there is some sort of thought, if you're judging this experience in some way, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Judgmental behavior is okay. Don't let anybody tell you you can't be judgmental. My teacher said, somebody asked a question at this retreat I was at recently in Kathmandu. Somebody said, yeah, but when I try not to be judgmental of myself, and my teacher said, Mingyur Rinpoche, he said, who told you not to be judgmental? He said, it wasn't me. Be judgmental. And I was like, I love that. Judgment is okay. In the work that I do, everything is okay. Everything is allowed. And then just shifting the weight around a little bit. And then here we go. We're just going to rock back and forth. Maybe you have to do one foot at a time because of balance issues, but maybe you can do both feet. You're going to lift the heels. I'll show from the side. Lift the heels as much or as little as possible. Lift the toes. And then just back and forth, still keeping the awareness with the feet. We're almost finished here. We're coming back down to the ground. 2 more times. 1 and 2. Pause for just a moment. Mind in the feet. And then let's bring it down to the ground. We're going to close here with some gentle massage of our hands and feet. We're working systematically through the body. So today, just the hands and feet. Next time, we're going to work with the arms, and then we'll work with the legs. And we're going to work our way in towards finding safety in the whole body, and especially in the heart and the belly. So for right now, let's just focus on the hands. So you can bring one hand up, whatever hand, doesn't matter. And then the other hand, it's friendly hand, a loving hand. And even imagine it's someone else's hand. I just want you to begin to gently massage one hand with the other. And as you apply some gentle touch, maybe a squeeze, that's what's really feeling good for me, a little squeeze, pulse. Maybe you want to pull one finger. I used to have a boyfriend that would do this for me, pull a finger. And I used to love it. And then I realized I could do it for myself because the boyfriend wasn't that great. So you can just apply some gentle, loving touch to yourself. And as you do this, as much as possible, keeping your mind in your hand and maybe even thinking something kind about your hand, like, thank you, hand. Thank you, hand, for all you do for me. And maybe you want to just gently stroke your hand, touching it softly. And observe any emotion, any feeling that comes up as you do this. Sometimes it can feel good to tickle the palm a little bit. I do this for my daughter. She loves it. We can do it for ourselves. Just a little more here, whatever feels best for you. And then shake that hand out. Press both hands down for just a moment, observing any sensations in the hands that got the little massage. And let's switch hands. Now with the other hand, giving that hand a nice massage, some squeezing, some stroking, some soft touch, and maybe even thinking like, thank you, hand. Thank you for all you do for me. If you want to pull the fingers of this hand, that can feel good. And some gentle touch. Thank you, hand. As much as possible, keeping your awareness with the hand. Just a little more here. And then once again, bringing both hands down. Keeping your awareness in the hands as much as possible, noticing here. And let's come to lie onto our back. You may need to sit on a chair for this. It depends on your own capacity. Adjust for yourself. You know, I can't see you, so you have to take care of yourself here. I can only do so much. We're going to take one foot, doesn't matter which foot, and we're going to bring it up. We're going to bring it up as close as we can to ourselves, and we're going to do the same thing here. Just some gentle massage to the foot, whatever feels good to you. You can think, oh, what would feel great? I love to take my fingers and stick it between one finger between every toe and really stretch my toes out, make little circles, but you can find what feels good for you. Just a minute or so here of massage. Maybe you want to touch the feet softly. Thank you, feet. Thank you, feet. Thank you for all you do for me. Noticing any emotions that come up, any sensations, everything is okay here. Everything is okay here. And then releasing that foot, you can remind your attention in the foot for a moment. And then next foot, bringing that foot up and beginning to massage that foot. You can also do this if you're seated against a wall. Maybe that's easier. Whatever's best for you. Just some gentle massage. Maybe you're flexible and you want to show it off. Just let yourself do what's best for you. About a minute here, just gentle massage, maybe some soft touch. Thank you, foot. Thank you, foot, for all you do for me. I love to put my fingers in between my toes. Really get a good stretch. I'm a runner, so my feet get a lot of pounding and effort, and I love to give them care and love. Thank you, feet. Just a little more time here. And then releasing that foot to the ground. And as you release the foot, keeping the mind inside the body as much as possible, only with the feet, noticing how the feet feel here. And just preparing for our final relaxation. We'll do a brief meditation together. I'm going to set up here by putting something underneath my legs, and I'm going to take my cushion and put it underneath my head. Maybe you have a lot of props like this, but maybe you don't, and whatever, it's okay. If you want to lie flat down on the ground, if you want to sit in a chair, you could even do this standing. You just find as much comfort as you can for yourself in this moment. If it feels good, hands can be on the ground, but personally, I like to have my hands resting on my chest and belly. And just noticing here, the eyes can be closed or they can stay open. Everything is okay. Just simply noticing here, can you find a little bit of comfort in the body, a little bit of comfort so that you can fully relax and fully relax. What do we mean when we say relax? I'm probably going to say this again and again, but let me just start the journey with you. When we are meditating or in a yoga space and we say relax, we don't mean be the most comfortable you've ever been in your life. What we mean is drop the defensive nature. What does that mean? That means stop pushing things away, stop denying experience. Relax is to drop our defensiveness and allow everything to be welcome at the party. Every friend, I think it's like a Rumi poem, every friend is welcome. Every emotion is welcome. Every thought is welcome in this guest house. Relaxing here, dropping our defenses. And then for another few moments, let's just bring our awareness to our hands. As much or as little as possible for you is perfectly okay. With your awareness on your hands, take a moment in silence here to think of all the things, the magical things your hands can do for you. Maybe you love to garden, play music. Maybe you have children and your hands pick them up or tickle them. Maybe you have a pet and your hands are able to pet the pet or brush the pet. Small things like how your hands can lift your coffee to your mouth or wash your hair. Take a moment here and think of all the wonderful, magical things your hands do for you. As you do this, maybe it brings up some deep emotions, some deep appreciation for your hands. Maybe not, that's okay. But if possible, try to generate this feeling of absolute love for these hands. And maybe you even say in your head, may my hands be safe from harm. May my hands be safe from harm. Maybe you have another phrase that feels good, like I love you, hands. I'm here for you, hands. And if it brings up an emotion, it's okay. If it doesn't, it's okay. Whatever's happening right now is perfect. And then move from the hands to the feet, awareness in the feet, noticing the feet. Think of all the magical things your feet do for you. Small things like walking, although walking is a pretty big thing, dancing, running, jumping. Maybe you like to play sports, kicking a ball, yoga. Just thinking of all the ways your feet support you and extending the same wish to your feet. May my feet be safe from harm. May my feet be safe from harm. I love you, feet. If it feels challenging, it's okay. If it feels easy, it's okay. All experience is okay. All emotions are okay. And drop the awareness of the hands, the awareness of the feet. Just rest here, just a minute or two in total silence, allowing all experience to be welcome. Eyes have been closed. If your eyes have been closed, you can open them, blink them a little bit, start to move around a little, maybe with the hands and with the feet. And you can stay where you are. We've come to the end of today's practice. Thank you so much for joining me. I invite you over this next week or so. If you come back next week, we'll work with the arms a little bit more, but just remember to give a little honor, a little touch to the hands, a little love to the feet. And remember that every experience is okay. Although the body may not yet feel safe to be in, there are parts of the body that even the scariest part of us can connect to. Even the most fearful part of us can connect to. I don't know about you, but giving love to my hands and feet actually brings tears to my own eyes. If that's true for you or something like that comes up for you, I want you to know it's perfectly normal. There's very few times that we give love to any part of our body, let alone our hands and our feet. So I just want to invite you to allow all experience to have been perfectly okay. Remember to be kind to yourself. Maybe the body feels like a really scary place to be in. It has for me for a long part of my life. And even after many, many years of a lot of deep work, it's still not perfect. And I give this invitation to you to stop, to drop the desire for things to be perfect and to open up the desire to just accept things as they are. So, maybe you'll never fully feel comfortable in the body, but you can feel a little more comfortable, and that's possible, even if it's just falling in love with your hands or falling in love with your feet. I'll tell this brief story before I sign off. When I was young, I hated my body. I had a lot of early trauma that caused a really big disconnection between me and my body. But I especially hated my feet. I hated my feet. Like I couldn't even wear sandals. I grew up in California. I'm in the Netherlands right now. I couldn't even wear sandals because I was so embarrassed of my feet. Like, who cared about my feet? They're not the most beautiful feet. And at the same time, I was able to develop a love affair with them because of these feet that I can run and play with my daughter, or that I can run at all, or that I can walk at all. And so beginning to fall in love with my feet also meant accepting them as they were. I didn't need my feet to be beautiful to love them on the outside, because it wasn't the outside of my feet that made my feet so valuable. So that's true for my feet, but that's also true for us in general. It's not the outside of us that's making us valuable. It's what's inside that counts. So may this practice bring you some peace, some joy, some love with your feet and love with your hands. And I hope to see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me today.